All right, Algebra 1, here we go, day 2 of solving equations. So we're going to start this off by reviewing what we talked about on the 3-1A notes. So solving two-step equations, 5x minus 13 equals 17. Remember, our goal here is to isolate the variable. We want to get x all by itself. So that means moving the 5 and moving this negative 13. But we can't just move them however we want to. We have to move them in a specific order to make it easier on ourselves. So first thing we do is we get rid of this negative or minus 13. How do we do that? Well, we do the opposite. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So we will add, I've moved that all the way down there, we will add 13 to both sides. Negative 13 plus 13 is 0. Those are gone. So bring down your 5x. 17 plus 13 is 30. Next step to get x by itself, the next thing that we need to do is we need to get rid of this 5. So how is this 5 related to the variable? It's being multiplied. So opposite of multiplication is division. So we will divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we have 1x. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So the answer here is x equals 6. And again, we can always take this 6 and plug it back in up here, right there for x, and show that it does equal, both sides should be equal then if we do that. So, you can do that to double check your answer. All right, here's the same questions I gave you as your notes for yesterday. These are just 5 things you want to ask yourself. We will be adding things to it each day. Today we are adding the distributive property. So you should remember that. We did that before. We're going to bring it back here now in solving equations. Again, same thing here, solving the equations. First thing we're going to do now is distributive property. We will only have distributive property on one side of the equation for today, but we will be adding to that later. So here we go. Let's get started on these new problems. We're going to take this number on the outside and distribute it through. 4 times 1 is 4. Keep going. 4 times 4 is 16. Positive, so plus 16n equals 100. Remember, we stop distributing. There we go. We stop distributing at the parenthesis. So we don't multiply 4 by 100. We're stopping when we get to that parenthesis. Now we are left with a problem that looks identical exactly like the ones we did yesterday. So we're going to take this 4 and move it over. So this is a positive 4, so we will do the opposite and subtract 4. So minus 4. Remember, we're always looking at the sign in front of our number. So that's because this right here is a positive 4. It has nothing to do with this being a positive. It's all because this is a positive 4 right here. Okay, so keep going. 4 minus 4 is 0. So I'm going to bring down 16n equals 100 minus 4 is 96. Okay, so 96. So now we're going to do our last step here to get our variable by itself. We are going to divide, because this is 16 times n. We will do the opposite and divide by 16. Divide by 16. 16 divided by 16 is 1, so we have 1n. Equals, use your calculator, 96 divided by 16 is 6. So there is your final answer for example A. Let's keep going. Here we go. Bring down the 180. We're not doing anything with that right now. Equals, we're going to take this negative 3 and multiply it through. Negative 3 times 8m is, negative 3 times 8 is negative 24m. And negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Next, we need to get rid of the number that does not have a variable. So this is a negative 12, a minus 12. The opposite of subtraction is addition. So we will add 12. So add 12. Again, we have to do this to both sides because it's an equal sign. We've got to keep it equal. We've got to do the same thing to both sides. So we're going to add 12. They're gone. My right-hand side is negative 24m. This is 0, so plus 0, but we don't write that. 180 plus 12 is 192. Okay, 192. Now, we're going to take that 192, and we're going to divide, right? We have to divide to get m by itself. This is a negative 24 times m, so we do the opposite, and we divide by negative 24. divide by negative 24. 192 divided by negative 24 gives you a negative 8 equals m. Final answer for this problem. And again, I'm going to stress this one more time here and just repeat myself. We can take this 8, negative 8, come all the way back up here to the beginning, plug that in here for m, and we should get that this right-hand side is equal to 180, because that's what the left-hand side is equal to. So you can always check your answers on these and know that you are correct. All right, let's keep going here. Example C. First of all, bring down your negative 260 on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, 5. We're going to multiply this through. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. And then we're going to bring that a down. 5 times negative 6a is negative 30a. So that's what we get right there. Now we need to get a by itself. Move the number that does not have a variable. This negative 20 needs to get moved. So we will add it. That's the opposite of subtraction is addition. So add 20 to both sides. Negative 20 plus 20 is 0. They're gone. Right-hand side is negative 30a. And the left-hand side, negative 260 plus 20 is negative 240. The last thing to get rid of this negative 30, some people are saying to themselves right now, all right, I got to add 30, right? Because it's a negative 30, I got to add 30. But that is not correct, because negative 30 is being multiplied by a, so we need to divide. Remember, it's always how is it related to the variable. This is being multiplied. Opposite of multiplication is, you guessed it, division. So we're going to divide by negative 30. And again, we got to do that on both sides, divide by negative 30. So, negative 30 divided by negative 30 is 1, so we have 1a. 240, negative 240 divided by negative 30 gives you 8. So there is your final answer for this problem. All right, next one I have done for you, so I will talk you through this one. Now, if you're looking at this, if you want to pause this video, try it out and see what you get, a lot of people are going to think, uh-oh, I made a mistake somewhere, but let's just walk through it and I'll tell you what's going on here. First of all, distribute this through. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times b is 7b. So we have 49 plus 7b. Now, this one's a little bit different than the other ones because we had this extra term. But we've done combining like terms before. So bring down the plus 4. Remember, you stop your distributing at that parenthesis. Okay, so that's how we stop. Bring down the plus 4 equals negative 95. We didn't do anything with those yet. Now, we look at this and we say, all right, I'm going to combine my like terms, right? What are the like terms? 49 and 4. So 49 plus 4 gives me 53. But first, I like to keep my variable out front, so I'm going to bring down the 7b plus 49 plus 4 is 53, and then equals negative 95. I didn't change anything with that yet. So now what? I need to move the 53. It's being added. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. These are all things you should be asking yourself. Talk to yourself when you're doing these problems in your head. You know, just ask yourself these questions in your head over and over again. How do I get rid of the 53? It's being added, so I do the opposite and subtract. So I'm going to subtract 53 from both sides. 53 minus 53 is 0, so they're gone. I'm left with 7b equals negative 148. And now when you plug this in your calculator, some of you are like, okay, I just did this and I ended up getting a decimal, so my answer's probably wrong. I need to figure out what I did wrong and blah, 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 whatever. It's not wrong, okay? Decimals are okay. We do end up getting decimals for our answers sometimes. You know, if this is a multiple choice question, you're going to look at your answers and see what the correct answer is. I like rounding to 3 decimal places. So I did negative 21.143. That's, if you look in your calculator, that's 1428. So that rounds to 143. You could also leave this as a mixed number, like negative 21 and, sorry, I was thinking 7 and I wrote a 7, but it should be a 1 over 7. There we go. Negative 21 and 1 over 7. You could round this to 1 decimal place, negative 21.1. or 2 decimal places, negative 21.14. You would look at your multiple choice answers and be like, okay, this is my answer, and then move on, okay? So just wanted to point that one out to you. Decimals are okay. Next, let's start off with our distributive property. So negative 5 times 3p is negative 15p. Negative 5 times a negative 4 is a plus 20. And now I'm going to bring down the rest of the equation. My distributive property is over. I'm bringing down the rest of my equation. So plus 7p plus 84. Okay, what are my like terms? Well, in this problem, my like terms are negative 15 and 7, there we go, p. Add them together, and what do we get? Negative 15 plus 7 gives me a negative 8p. Let's bring down the rest of the equation, so plus 20 equals, oops, I'm getting one step ahead of myself, 84. It'll be equal to 64 in the next step. I'm getting one step ahead of myself here, sorry. Equals 84. Next, move the 20 over. It's a positive 20, it's being added, so I do the opposite and I subtract. And like I said, that right-hand side will now be equal to 64. So negative 8p, these are gone. Negative 8p, ignore that little line there. I made a little mistake, just ignore it. 84 minus 20 is 64. Last thing we need to do to get p by itself is divide, because this is being multiplied. So we're going to divide by negative 8 on both sides, divide by negative 8, and final answer, p equals 64 divided by negative 8 is a negative 8. Final answer. All right, last one. I got this one done for you too, so we're going to start it off by using our distributive property. So negative 3 times negative 1 is a positive 3, and negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. So let me reveal that part here. Negative 3, like I said, negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. Combine your like terms, 8m plus 6m. We need to add those two together. Those are my like terms. 8 plus 6 gives me 14m. Bring down to plus 3 equals, bring down to 115. Now we got to get rid of the 3, so it's a positive 3 right now. We have to do the opposite and subtract 3. So subtract 3 from both sides. 3 minus 3 is 0. Those are gone. 115 minus 3 is 112. So 14m equals 112. Last step, 14 is being multiplied by m, so we would do the, ooh, I didn't even write it there. We would do the opposite and divide by 14. Sorry, I missed that step. Divide both sides by 14. And we end up getting 8 for our answer for this one, okay? So there's your final answer, m equals 8. Like I said, each day we will be adding a new step to this solving equations. So make sure if you have any questions, you're sending me an email, you're sending me a private comment, or you're asking me in class, just let me know. Don't let these questions pile up, okay? So let me know if you have any questions.